So let's talk about the M3 MacBook Pro, how I feel about it, is it worth it, and who's it for? But basically, I got this M3 MacBook Pro for $13.99 instead of $15.99. There was a Black Friday deal that I got at Best Buy. So if you want to, go ahead and check out the link in the comments. If you shop at Best Buy, you can click on there and save some money, or you can check out my Amazon link and save some money there. Now that we got that part out of the way, I honestly have to put my own bias aside sometimes because I'm actually using a 16-inch M1 MacBook Pro maxed out except for the storage. So this is me as someone who's not the average customer, for somebody who needs more horsepower, or I feel like I need to have more out of a computer. This is coming from me, right? Now, I'm coming from a 16-inch MacBook Pro looking at a 14-inch MacBook Pro. One that retails for $1,600, has the new M3 chip, has 8 gigabytes of unified memory, has 512 gigabytes of storage. Now, the main thing that everybody is talking about, and I've talked about it a little bit myself, is the fact that this only comes with 8 gigabytes of unified memory. That is the only thing that I can find wrong with this laptop or even disagree with. Normally, when you look at laptops or phones or stuff like that, and you want to say that there's like actually an issue, you can find a multitude of things wrong with something and say it's bad. If this laptop came with 16 gigabytes of RAM, unified memory, whatever you want to call it, we would not even be having this discussion. This would be the best buy MacBook Pro that you could ever find. And if you actually get the $200 or $150 off by going to the links for the Black Friday sales, that is a great deal. The main reason why so many people are so amped about the whole 8 gigabytes of RAM thing, the reason why we talk about it the most is for two reasons. One, the comparisons. We will compare this laptop to its Windows counterparts. And we will say that for $1,600, XYZ Windows laptop comes with 16 gigabytes of RAM. I'm not completely disagreeing with that because I would like to see 16 gigabytes of RAM inside of this laptop. However, there are some shortcomings that are on these Windows laptops that people talk about. If you look at this is a all metal, aluminum, however you want to call it, frame. Find me a Windows laptop that's around $1,600 that swings in that same direction. Okay. Not many out there. You may find one or two, but not many out there. So you will find a Windows laptop that has better specs, but it'll be an all plastic display. Or you'll find a Windows laptop with better specs, but maybe it doesn't have the right monitor, or maybe something is off here or there, or maybe this or that. There's all these different things. So there's plus and minuses both on the MacBook side and on the Windows side. So that's the first thing. The second thing that some of us worry about, in the tech community and other people, is swap memory usage on the SSD. I'll explain swap memory to you. So essentially what happens is when your computer has what we would call physical memory, if you look in the activity monitor, it will say, hey, you have 8 gigabytes of RAM available. If you exceed, or if you match or reach the 8 gigabytes of RAM and your computer needs to pull more RAM or more memory or virtual memory, anything out of something else besides the 8 gigabytes of RAM that's in there, the only thing else it has left to pull from is the SSD. So swap memory is basically, it's swapping, right? It's going back and forth between the SSD and the processor, CPU, computer, whatever you want to call it, and it's doing that. Why is swap memory a bad thing? That actually sounds like it would be kind of nifty. If I have a big SSD, then why would I need more RAM? Well, one of the drawbacks that people found with the original M1 MacBook Pros is that the more swap memory it occurs or goes on or happens, the faster you can wear down an SSD. Now, that is a cause for concern because an SSD is not replaceable inside of this laptop. You can't pop it open and take out the SSD and replace it with another one like you could with laptops in the past. So that does have some people worried if you are spending $1,600 on a laptop and you're going to be doing extra work and stuff like that, you could be wearing out the SSD, and that's something that you should know about. Beyond that, there is nothing else wrong with this laptop. This laptop, just honestly, within the first 24 hours, I kind of looked at it and said, I don't know how I'm going to deal with this coming from a 16-inch MacBook Pro and using a 14-inch MacBook Pro. But let's talk about the benefits of this, right? So what do you get for $1,600? $1,600, you get all metal frame. I think that's pretty cool. Feels pretty nice. I do have the silver color. I personally really don't worry about fingerprints, but if you were ever worried about fingerprints, get a silver one. Even the space gray kind of turns out pretty good. The other thing, the display on here. The display on here, I don't know what Mac or Apple does with these Macs, honestly, but the displays always look good. They always look crisp, wonderful. I can barely tell if there's any pixels on there whatsoever. It is not a touch screen display. I would like a touchscreen display, but it's not a touchscreen display. And the other thing about this display is it is ridiculously thin. Like sometimes I still look at this and wonder, like, how is this even a display? The other thing that's great about this MacBook, and I still think that this is one of the most underrated things on laptops today, and we don't appreciate these things enough, is the trackpad, okay? I don't know if you've ever used the MacBook trackpad, but these things are awesome. I thought it was kind of dumb when they did the whole Taptic Engine thing years and years ago. Then I started using it, and then I got used to it. Now, every time I go back to a Windows laptop and I use like the trackpad that has like the diving board mechanism, or I press on the trackpad and I can feel like part of the laptop bend, I just feel like a little weird inside. So I guess that's a little bit of the Apple snob in me coming out, but trackpad is great. I like the big trackpad. Back in the day, these actually used to be smaller. People were making fun of them, saying how much the trackpad has gotten bigger. So I still like that. Keyboard, great keyboard. As far as everything else on here, it is good. The only complaint that I would have is like if you have larger hands, it depends on how much space you're going to have to move around on here. But it's a 14-inch laptop. Like essentially, you can pick this thing up and just take it with you anywhere. Essentially, for most people, this is a 12.9-inch, iPad, which I have one of those laying around here somewhere. But it's easily portable. And honestly, with using it, with just, pulling stuff up on here, doing just my regular, normal, everyday stuff, there's nothing wrong with it. Google Chrome, fine, great. You won't notice a difference. If you go from my M1 maxed out MacBook Pro to this, you will not see a difference unless you are either gaming, video editing, or doing any sort of, graphics or super intensive processing, anything like that. And I think that's where it rolls around into who is this for? This is for people who are looking at a MacBook Air, but said, I need more ports, essentially. Because most people would just go out and get a MacBook Air for the price. You would either go get the 15-inch MacBook Air or you get the 13-inch MacBook Air. But with those MacBook Airs, you have MagSafe charging and 2 USB-C ports, and that's it. If you're somebody that needs more than that, you need an HDMI port, you need an SD card slot. Let's say you might just be editing photos. Let's say you're not some crazy big YouTuber or whatnot. This is a good entry-level laptop. Like if you literally wanted a MacBook Pro, but you don't need to spend $2,000 and you don't need to do all of this extra crazy stuff, and you want something that's a little bit nicer than the MacBook Air, this is the lane for you. This is a good lane for you. If you're somebody that is coming from Intel, and let's say you're brand new to Apple Silicon, you don't want to get a refurbished model, You don't want to get last year's model. You want to get the newest model. You want to do it as cheaply as possible. You want to have the least amount of investment, but you're not sure if you're going to, let's say, keep this for 5, 6, 7, or 8 years. If this is something that this is your starting point, this is a good starting point. I don't see anything wrong with it. One of the complaints that we had last year and previous years was that these used to only come with 256 gigs of storage. Now they come with 512. M3 is an upgrade over the M2. Everything else here, if you're even coming from the 13-inch M1 or M2 MacBook Air, you're still getting an upgrade. You're still getting the stuff that was in the 14 and 16-inch as far as the capabilities and the extra stuff last year. You're getting it this year for a cheaper price. You used to have to spend $2,000 to get the stuff that was in this package. Now you're spending basically $1,600, aka $1,400, if you use my links below. I'm going to say that a couple of times, but essentially this is good to go. This is a MacBook Pro on a budget. And anytime you are doing anything on a budget, there are going to be limitations. There are going to be drawbacks. There's going to be something missing because it is the budget model. When you look at these and they can go all the way up to, let's say, several $1,000s. Yeah, this is the budget model. So, but yeah, I would think, honestly, if you can get past the 8 gigabytes of RAM, or let's say 8 gigabytes is too little for you, upgrade to the 16 gigs. Now, I know somebody's going to say, well, for $200 more, you can just get a $2,000 one. Fine, get the $2,000 one. Get whatever matches your budget and matches the specs. But like I said, if you are worried about this laptop in any sense, if you are somebody that just wants a laptop, you want to use it, and you're worried about the performance on here is going to be fine. It's just all of us crazy YouTubers who expect to pick one of these up and edit 8K and do all this other crazy stuff on here. So I'm going to go ahead and get out of here while my kid continues to sing in the background. So if you guys did like this video, please subscribe to the channel. I will be doing more content on the M3 MacBook and possibly some other ones. So thank you guys for watching. My kid is trolling me. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.